Good morning, friends. In the middle of the week, we wanted to spend just a couple of quick moments checking in with one another. And I hope that you are doing very well. I know that, for many of us, these winter months, they get long and hard. And I want to say this to you. It is okay for you to not be okay. Give yourself grace. Often, we are the last people who give ourselves grace. And so, give yourself some grace in the midst of, whatever struggles we might be dealing with. And I want to encourage you to reach out to a friend and to a neighbor. That's one of the things that Christian community is about, is reaching out and sharing compassion and love and empathy to not only our neighbors and our friends, right? And the people that we sit next to in church and the people that we really like, but part of being a part of part of Christian community is reaching out to and having an eye for and having a heart for, the people who we don't always notice, the people who might be in need, the people who, kind of are off our radar. And as people of God, it's important for us to be thinking about, people who we don't always, are at the forefront of our minds. I'm just so mindful of that. And one of the things that especially Pastor Mike and I were trying to, instill in the culture of New Life is that we don't think first about ourselves and our own needs, but we think about the other. We think about the people who aren't here yet, right? And one of the things we do, is to think about parking. Parking was an issue this last Sunday, right? And some of that is because of the snow, and we, lose a few spaces because, the snow is piled there. Part of that is because we can't park in the field right now, right? Unless you have a really big truck, it's tough to park in the field, right? And for some of us to say, well, that's okay, right? I found my spot. But I also want to think about, the people who might be looking for a church home and they drive into the parking lot and they say, there's no space, right? Or the same thing happens, when we sit down in our worship space and we sit down in our spot. We say, well, I got my spot, right? And maybe we throw some coats, to save some spots for our family who's late again, right? But, part of what we want to be about, is about thinking about the people who aren't here yet and making space for those who don't have a space yet. When we say all are welcome at this church, we mean it. But we also want to be a people who demonstrate that, right? Who are thinking about and want to reach out to those who aren't here yet. We're part of a growing congregation. I am so thankful for the growth that we have experienced by God's grace and through the power of the Holy Spirit. And I also want to continue to be a congregation. I want to continue to be a leader of this congregation who's thinking about and always focused on people who aren't here yet. Friends, have a great God bless day. Take good care. Remember, it's okay to not be okay. But I also want to encourage you to give yourself some grace. And I also want to encourage you to reach out if you need some help. Take good care, and we'll see you Sunday.